Welcome to the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Mick.
I'm Dave.
I'm Tim.
I'm Brendan.
Details are at the bottom of the screen while Caesar decides to come in and say hi. Please follow us on all our social media channels, especially YouTube, for all the extra content that doesn't make it into our weekly television episodes. We also have
THRS Radio, best radio station on the planet.
as well as sponsor packs and Patreon and all the usual stuff out there to help us out with any support you'd be willing to give us. That would be great. This week, tonight, is a 2-hour episode dedicated to what we did some research online and stuff and polled the audience and asked what they thought were some overlooked Australian metal bands. And yeah, we just put some reviews together out of a little lucky dip and away we went. So for this episode tonight, 2 hours worth for your entertainment on Channel 31, we have Bengal Tigers, In the Blood, Lord, Set in Stone, Mortal Sin, Face of Despair, Taipan with Snakes, Vanishing Point, Embrace the Silence, Airborne, No Guts, No Glory, Dreadnaught, Down to Zero, Barbariön, Round the World, Defryme, Pure Killer, Mason, Impervious, Witchgrinder, The Demon Calling, and Truth Corroded, Bloodlands. That's the review pool for this week's episode. We'll try and squeeze some interviews in this one as well if we can make that all work out. We'll see how it all goes in post-production, but we're going to kick things off with a metal clip for you. Bengal Tigers, In the Blood, 12 tracks, 42 minutes, one and only full-length album from the Australian metal band, released July 1998 via SM Records, produced by the band and engineer Mark McCormack, recorded at St Andrews Recording Studio. Hard to tell if there were any direct singles released from this, though some of these tracks did appear in the 1997 EP In One Ear as well as the 1998 EP Fight for Your Rights. It's a bit of an interesting little mix, melting pot. Go for it.
Cool. I had heard the name of the band, but got no history with them at all. I don't recall ever listening to them back in the day, so it was sort of, okay, well, this is a new discovery, and, you know, that can be fun. This was a really interesting listen. I found myself falling in and out of love with it all the way through. It was really odd. At one point, the mix was sort of shitting me in some songs, and other times it seemed to fit perfectly.
Very consistent.
Yeah, I don't know if it was changing or if it just suited some songs better than others.
Maybe because of the different recordings that were previously done and put on this.
It was interesting. Very, very old school. I found it really heavily Priest influenced for mine. I don't know if everyone would agree. The vocals will be polarising. Some will like it, some will hate it, but I think it suited the style really well. It didn't bother me, but it's just that kind of vocal that will, you know, would, dare I say, grind some people's gears. Guitar work was very tasty, but overall I did find the mix to be a little bit thin, but that's kind of cool because it was like an old school sound, and I think out of the late 90s they've actually got a pretty good sound going on. I found it a bit long, if anything. Probably could have trimmed a few off.
42 minutes,
Yeah, and the cover for Fight for Your Right was just completely unnecessary, I thought.
That does hit and miss, I think, on.
Yeah, but look, if you like it old school,
one of the better songs.
I'm looking forward to your review. If you like it old school, yeah, check it out. It was a fun one to listen to. So, but it didn't blow me away, but it was cool. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. The highlights were Burned, Out on the Run, and Hot Lips.
Okay.
Yeah, like you, I had no idea who these guys were. I don't even recall the name, to be honest with you, either.
They are popular in a lot of circles out there, so it's one of those bands. They're still going at the moment, so...
No, well, there you fucking go. Good for them. It falls in the hard rock metal genre, and it sounds like a early to mid-80s release, not a late 90s release, if you ask me.
Yeah, I get what you mean with that.
The clarity's there for the late 90s, I found. It's just the sound was a bit thin.
It was a weird mix.
Yeah, it was. It was strange.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I've heard worse, must admit, but geez, the mix could have been everything for this, and it just doesn't stack up, unfortunately. Unlike Brendan, I couldn't stand the vocals. I thought
there you go. That's
100% was the weakest point. Especially in the first song. Now I forget the track title, but there was a double vocal in the verses the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
And it was so separated that it was annoying, you know. If you're going to do something, it needs to be mixed together.
I get what you mean with that.
Just little things like that were just really, they irked me, you know. And
ground your gears.
Yeah, my gears were grinding.
There's an app for that, I think.
There might be. Or a little bit of a video. We just saw some. Look, they were trying to... Obviously, they were heavily influenced by the late 70s, early 80s movement, I would have thought, in their songwriting style and writing. It was okay. Look...
Calm down.
I won't go back to it. Again, I didn't hate it, but yeah, I can see why it's one album. They haven't backed it up. Maybe they're still working on it. So, I don't know. In My Ear, I thought it was okay. I actually didn't mind Fight For Your Right. I thought it was okay. I like the little Bengal Tigers thing.
Yeah, they changed the lyric up on it. The Bengal Boys.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah.
I cringed at that.
Yeah, but I got it.
Yeah,
I thought, if you're going to do it, like Park Avenue, Skid Row. You know what I mean? Sort of that type of bullshit. So, In the Blood and Out on the Run with the songs I didn't mind. Look, 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, without it ties my thoughts pretty much cross between the two of you guys. Like for me, it's pretty traditional metal with glam overtones. I thought there was a bit of glam in there. Driven like guitar stuff I thought it had some cool groove and attitude for what it is.
There's moments where you go, that's alright, and then the moment goes.
It does.
For me, the glam overtone came from the vocal and the lyric side of this. I can see why that will, like, some people gravitate toward it and some people won't. Like, it's very early Motley Crue kind of in sound a little bit for mine. Like,
that Leather song.
Yeah.
The fuck. What
4
the
minutes of
fuck
that.
was that?
Yeah, that was a bit...
Yeah, I've got a note on that one coming up.
Cringy.
Fuck, that was...
I thought overall there were some good hooks on this. There's some catchy stuff that gets stuck in your head. There's stuff that's got the big crowd sing-along moments written in there. Very 80s influenced. I thought, I do have some issues with the mix, but it does still sound fresh overall. It hasn't aged too badly for mine.
To me it has.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think it had aged too badly compared to a lot of other ones we've
They were
done.
really well done demos.
That's a bit harsh.
Well, I don't know if I got that far.
Yeah. 3/4 of it sounded like that to me.
Okay. It's got sleazy tones across the board. It's got a raw edge, but it's overall, I thought, pretty well balanced. The vocals cut through. They're a little bit dry, but that works for this style of music with what they're going for. There's some cool panning on the left and right at different times in this, so especially on the guitar. So for me, I guess being the production nerd, that's I can always get lost in that kind of thing, so I guess I'm finding ways to enjoy it more than you guys are. The problem with the mix for me, though, was that the bass and the drums seem buried under the guitar and the vocal, which is where that thinness comes into it. I get why they've taken that approach. My criticism isn't overly harsh on it. It sounds okay, but overall there was some nice depth and space to compensate for that sort of thinness on the focusing on the mid to top end versus the warmth of the bottom end. I thought the album flow was pretty good overall. Got the peaks and troughs in there. It's pretty easy to spin on the repeat side of things. It's a party kind of an album, not one to put on for something to think about. It's just you put it on and it's just go and have a few drinks, have some fun. I'm not sold on the cover of Fight For Your Right. It might have worked well at the time. It would have been a big fan favourite live, especially at that point in time. But I'm not sure it's aged as well as the rest of the album has. Like, there's one particular lyrical part in there where it goes, "That hypocrite smokes 2 packs a day," and he says "mokes" as opposed to "smokes," and I can't unhear that. It's like it's
critical.
I know, but fuck, I just
Does it grind your gears?
not as much as Nicky's. Also, as has been mentioned, the track "Leather." That's a very, very repetitive 4 minutes on the album that didn't need to be there, and it didn't need a reprise either.
Yeah.
It didn't need the 4 minutes. It had a reprise, and it didn't need that.
Wow. Yeah.
You could have cut that in half to give...
It must have been a crowd favourite or something for him. Like,
It must have been in the era, but in 1998,
It's
I'm
like they're
finding it
trying to
hard.
do Defenders of the Faith, like the priest thing. Like
But
that.
my thing with this is it's 1998, not
good. Yeah.
88.
Yeah, not 82.
In 88, I would have bought it. In 98, I find it harder to...
Wear leather like that.
Yeah.
I don't fit in the leather anymore. Apart from the jacket, the pants are fucking
But
gone.
certainly not pants.
Outside of those things, that the album has a nice tempo and pace about it. I thought the variety was pretty good. There's nothing too out of the box on this, but it works well. It would have been a hell of a lot of fun to see this band live at their peak. You can see the fun we've been had in the live environment with this record.
I'm sure the band is better than this album.
Yeah.
If they're still going around getting it now, like, I'm sure they're smashing it and they'd be great to see live, but...
It's just a shame that you've only got one sample
Yeah.
to take from this band. You got the one album, and they've had lineup
It's a good
issues and
touring
stuff.
history. 20 years on the one album. Like,
Actually, fuck, well done. It's better than
fuck
most.
you, Metallica, with your 5-year tour. What are these guys?
Yeah. I thought, for me, like, a band like this, they missed the window. A lot of factors go into that, especially with the lineup change and stuff. But if you like old school sleazy, heavy rock, that sort of stuff, you're going to enjoy this one. You'll find enough in this to really entertain you. This one has a knack for growing on you over time. Like, I listened to these ones sort of 3 or 4 times, and the more I span it, the more I sort of got into it a bit. So it's nothing new, but it was fun and well enough done for mine. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked In One Ear, Out on the Run, and Hot Lips, so I think between us we've crossed over on the standard tracks. So it's probably, if you're going to choose ones, I'll choose what we've chosen here. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Lord, Set in Stone, 11 tracks, 62 minutes, the third studio album from the Australian metal band, released September 2009 by Riot Entertainment, produced by Lord Tim, recorded at SLS Studios in Wollongong. Looks to have had 3 promo tracks from this in New Horizons, Forever and Set in Stone. This was the band's first album, Mark Ferdinand as an official member on guitar, and would also be the last with Tim Yatras on drums. This album has a veritable host of guest spots on this as well. Go for it.
Did they shoot Tim? Because in the CD, on the guitar solo song, it says all music by Tim until the band shoots him.
Well, it's still going, so whatever if they shot it didn't work that well.
Just a cool little note that I noticed inside it. Was cool. I sometimes forget Lord are an Australian band. They are fucking world class. They have their very own distinct sound, which really sets them apart from a lot of bands in this genre, which can be a bit same. Lyrics have a lot of substance to them. If you sit back and check out the lyric sheet while you're listening to it, there's a lot to actually sink your teeth into. High energy, melodic metal with lots of great songwriting. The keys are really well used too. They're not overpowering and at the foreground. They just help to set up the mood. Killer guitar solos if that's your thing. If you like shred guitar, then you'll love this album, especially the track Be My Guest, which is like an 8-minute long solo, which is cool. 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's awesome. Standouts were Eternal Storm, 100 Reasons, Forever, New Horizons, and Be My Guest.
I actually, in a way, and through my own fault, forgot this album exists.
Really?
Existed, yeah, because like it's nearly 10
Funny
years.
thing is, when I put this into the pile, you both own it on CD, and now you're saying you forgot it exists.
No, but it's nearly 10 years old now.
Yeah, it is the 10th anniversary.
10 years old. Like, that's insane.
Yep.
And it sounds great. It still sounds great in 2019. Yeah. And this is from that sort of era where, like, sort of local Australian bands really, on record, really started sounding good. Yeah. And they really started sounding world class. And everybody had that mentality of, if we're going to make it, we've got to be twice as good as those guys in Europe and the US. Yeah. And we're going to do it. And these guys are twice as good as most of the bands in these genres, in my opinion, anyway.
And it's all in-house, too.
Yeah, exactly. Good mix of riffs and melodies throughout. As Dave said, ripping guitar solos, that unbelievable stuff. They do have that kind of, I don't know, power metal kind of thing going on.
Yeah, but there's more to it.
Yeah, what I was... If you're not into power metal, like, I'm not really into power metal, this is a good gateway to get into it. And if you like a bit more of aggressive metal and stuff with a bit more kick and grunt to it, this is a good starting point. Yeah. Because it doesn't have a lot of the tropes the negative tropes that you associate with.
It doesn't get stuck in the whole dragon shit.
Yeah. It's just good, proper, old school metal. Redemption is my highlight. I'll give it 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. Well, this is the 10th anniversary for this album, so it's nice to go back to it after a while. I haven't listened to this for a while. Pounding riffs, drums and bass, wailing vocals, awesome harmonies, some damn fine lead guitar work. It's all here in that regard. Little touches of synth, like you mentioned. It has a lot of little things done in this to really fill out the sound well nicely. There's certain touches of reverb on certain drum hits. Like, a lot of detail in the production side of things. The album's based in melodic metal, but it does get pretty damn brutal at times. There's some growling vocals and stuff in this that works really well. And they also give a good counterbalance on the album to what's overall really melodic and sort of harmony vocals and all sort of stuff going on in this. If you like guitar work, this album is certainly for you. Great harmonising leads, but also some really flashy, just individual solo pieces on this. Again, look no further than Be My Guest for all the shred you could want. But this is one of those rare albums where it all fits in perfectly and doesn't have the self-indulgent guitar wankery going on. This all actually works in really well. The writing is bang on. Everything serves the songs, no matter what is flashing in the actual moment. Whatever vocal style is being used, doesn't matter. Every little detail works to serve the song and, as a consequence, the album. Makes the album a breeze to listen to. None of this is tiring. The length is just right. And I love repeat spinning this one. You can put it on and just go back to the start and just keep going back through it again. Tempo changes on the album are really well executed. And on the whole, if they were to play this album as a live set in full, it'd be a great gig.
That's a good one to do.
You'd be happy. Production is faultless. LT does a great job in virtually everything he touches. The mix is well balanced, has fantastic depth and space. It's not pushed up against a sound wall. It's got a push and pull to it, which is cool. The accents really come through sonically, and I love the drum and guitar tones on this, but the vocals are well laid and presented. This is a joy to listen to. The attention to detail that I mentioned before, for me, someone like me, I'm in a happy place. Lyrically, well presented, really well done, great storytelling, just a touch of drama about it. It's entertaining and riveting from top to bottom. There's some good hooks in this too, stuff that gets stuck in your head. The album is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde, but in the best possible way, as in not in a good and a bad, but there's beauty and pure nasty, evil sort of stuff in the same album, which gives you everything you want out of a listen like this. If you like well-written and performed metal, you need to be all over this band. I'm keen as fuck for the new album, which will be due out I think August as this goes to air. But in the meantime, if you haven't heard this band, it's a good place to start. 9.5 out of 10 from me. Set in stone forever, The End of Days and 100 Reasons. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Mortal Sin, Face of Despair, 13 tracks, 58 minutes, the second album from the Australian metal band released April 1989 via Vertigo. Produced by Randy Burns, recorded at Paradise and EMI 301 Studios in Sydney. Looks like one promo track was released in I Am Immortal. This album's release was delayed due to the band's extensive support of Metallica at the time. This is widely regarded as one of the most important Australian metal releases. Worth noting that we've done the extended remastered edition for this review.
Just straight up old school thrash. That's what this sounds like. Just harsh, shrieking vocals, a heavy dose of chugging, played at a pretty decent click. There's nothing really like this is the days before thrash got fancy with half times and time signature changes and there's none of that going on here. This is just straight up plug in, play, go for it. And I mean, we did Hobbs' Angel of Death.
Yeah, not long ago,
and. Like, Hobbs has those, little breakdowns and interesting melodies and all that. Mortal Sin don't really. They do borrow a lot from that crossover thrash, punk, hardcore thing. And that's really where this is born from. And if that's not your thing, this isn't probably going to change your mind. But if that is your thing, you're going to absolutely love it. The same thing goes for the production. This does sound like an underground 80s thrash metal album.
I don't know if I go that far.
You should listen to some more underground 80s thrash metal albums. I don't sound
I listened to a few. I listened to myself.
This is from the guy that loves black metal.
Fuck. I know. Hit Destroyer when we need it.
Well, the other one was to review a Christmas last year, whatever it was, the one that I thought was in a bedroom with the mirrors against the wall. I forget what that was now. But
Dark Throne.
That's it.
They got a new album out now too. Sounds much better than
It's not hard to improve on that.
Oh, but it's still okay. To be fair, this album sounds much better than the new. This sounds much better than the new Dark Throne album. But again, it does. No, but what I mean is, it does have like it's not like the Mason album.
No,
you know what I mean. It's got that Kill 'Em All vibe to it.
This is 89 though. So.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It does sound like if that's not your thing, if you want something prim and proper and polished, stay away. Yeah. Martyrs for Eternity is my highlight. I give it 8 out of 10.
Nice. I really only heard bits and pieces of Mortal Sin over the journey, which is a fucking huge mistake on my behalf.
This is the second time I've reviewed this particular album over the journey of the show.
I really enjoyed this a lot.
I thought you might.
Yeah, look, old school, but it's from that sort of 1989 perfect metal year, really. Like, and sort of the couple of years around it were just ideal. Everyone was coming out with the strongest material, and this album kicks shoes up. Yeah. This was the golden era of metal, and this album stands up pretty well against the classics for mine. I think it was bloody good. And I thought it sounded great for 1989. Yeah, and there was that transition between sort of early 80s metal that did sound like very garage based, and then it really sort of
it turned a corner with the disco stuff that was coming through at the same like the the 80s disco music, that the production values applied to that were starting to creep in and stuff, yeah.
Well, even from Justice onwards, you know, like when Justice was released, yeah, look, it's got its faults and everything, but it's clear and crisp, and, you know, so people realised you could actually get distorted music to sound that way. I think this sounds great. Songwriting is spot on. There was enough structure and tempo change and transitions in there to keep it really cool for mine. I know what you're saying, it doesn't go, you know, crazy into huge shifts, but there's enough light and shade to keep it interesting. Yeah, it's heavy, but it gives you enough room to breathe.
Yeah.
If you like the classic metal acts, the Big Four and Testament and Exodus and all this kind of stuff, God, get out and get around this, because I thought this was fantastic. And I'll go back and listen to more and more Mortal Sin, because this is cool shit. Loved it. I gave it 9 out of 10. Wow. Highlights were Innocent Torture, I Am Immortal, The Inventory Core, and Suspended Animation.
Cool. Well, it's easy to see why so many dead set metalheads in this country review this album so highly. It's just straight out of the era, and you can see why they supported Metallica so extensively when they did.
It would have been a good gig.
Oh yeah. If you like Big Four era thrash, this is your happy place. Riff driven, aggressive vocals, pounding drums and bass with some nice flashy guitar work. It's all here, and probably quite surprising for me this band wasn't bigger at the time. Some really nice dual guitar work at times, some damn fine solos that stand on their own. Holds up pretty well today. Some great tones and balance on this with just the right amount of that raw edge to it. It's harsh yet got warmth to it. It's really well balanced. It's got, like, the bottom end, it's got a really nice warm rumble to it, but the guitars and vocals cut through, but nothing is buried on this mix. It's actually really well done. Nice album flow, solid use of tempo changes. The overall dynamics are good. Thought it was going into the different parts of the songs, and that in turn where they sit on the album with the track order and that, like that, the whole thing has been well thought out. There's plenty here to headbang to, but there's also those moments just to give you that bit of a breather, which is underrated. This is a thrashy metal album, and as such has plenty of balls, but this knows how to breathe, like I was saying. As much as it has that Big Four vibe, this is not a rip-off. It's important to say this isn't Metallica Mark II or whatever. This has a bit of all those bands, and then it goes beyond those bands as well. It's really cool. If you like, it's got those angry political lyrics in there as well. If you like that, if you want an album that you can vent to while bouncing off the walls at the same time, this is one of those records. It's an angry album that makes you feel good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And some of the lyrics are actually still really relevant today. Some nice hooks in this too. This has some killer groove, which really gets that swing going on this release. It's a bit of a longer one, but it's not boring, and it's really easy to repeat spin. I like the little bits of foley added onto this and the little effects to accent bits and pieces here and there. Adds a bit of drama to this album, which is really cool.
And the Australian accent cuts through.
It does.
Again, you forget you're listening to an Australian band, and then...
But it's not the shitful Australian accent.
No, it's not forced.
No,
it's just
natural.
There.
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah.
And it actually makes it sort of stand out a little bit in the right way. It was really cool.
Loved it.
But they've also kept their humour. They haven't lost that touch of humour about it as well. And they've got some really nice use of reverb on this, which gives us some depth and warmth overall. The 3 tracks tacked onto the end of this version, they don't add or subtract anything from the original release. So they're there, they're good, but you don't have to listen to them, but they're not a bad thing to listen to at the same time. In its original form, this album is a lean, mean beast of an album. If you like metal at all, this is well worth a listen and should be more widely known than it is.
Yeah.
I know that people watching our show will know about it, but I think it should be more widely known.
This should be up there with
the greats as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, agreed.
It holds up really well today. It's worthy of praise. There are no dud tracks. 8.5 out of 10. I'm Immortal, Mars of Eternity, For Richer For Poorer, and Robbie Souls. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Taipan with Snakes, believe it or not. 10 tracks, 49 minutes. Third studio of the Australian metal band, released November 2011 via Killer Metal Records. Now, this album is a compilation of tracks taken from the 2007 Stonewitch and 2010 Flamethrower albums. It's hard to dig up a lot more info than that on this one, unfortunately, so over to you.
Yeah, again, I only knew this band by name. I had never heard a song or anything like that. So this one was actually a good surprise for me.
Give you guys a bit of education tonight.
Yeah. No, a lot of this stuff,
Hence the theme, underrated or overlooked metal bands.
No, definitely this is very underrated. Good energy, great. I thought it was a great release. the first song, Tired of You, just hooked me straight in. It was like, oh yeah, I like this stuff. A bit thrashy. The only thing that I guess sets it apart from traditional thrash, or say like a late 80s or a 90s, like the big four we were talking about earlier, is the vocals. It's a little bit different to the thrashy vocals that you're accustomed to. It's either the really high-pitched singing or it's the raspy sort of stuff. This is something else. I don't really know what to put his vocal on. It's not punk, but it's not...
It's got an edge.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
It actually made their sound unique.
Yeah.
You know? It's a bit thrashy in spots, but not overdone. I thought the production was great. I really liked the sound of this album. Really good bottom end, and everything just sort of sat really well in the mix. So I really enjoyed it. Look, if you like bands like, and again, they don't sound like these guys, but there's elements too. Megadeth and Testament and Pure Envy. I heard a bit of those guys. You know. That. You'll definitely like this. It's really, really good music. There's a few different changes. It's not just a thrashy one-paced album. There is tempo changes and bits and pieces, which is great. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Cool. I really enjoyed this. I put it on my list to buy.
Nice.
I'm going to get this.
Good luck finding it, but yeah.
I did find it.
Oh, yeah?
Not a brand new one, but I have found it. It's in Germany. It's waiting for me.
Wow.
Tired of You, Snakes, Insomnia, and Lady, and Isolated. Were my songs. Yeah.
Cool.
But really, the whole album was...
Yeah, no.
I liked it. It was fucking good.
That was good. I'd never heard this band at all. Didn't even know the name.
Okay.
So completely new to it.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what to expect. And much like Mick, it was a good surprise. This was fucking good. Very old school heavy metal. Kind of reminds me of the new wave of British heavy metal for some.
Yeah, I get what you mean with that.
High energy, straight up production. There's no flashy tricks. They just let the music do what it needs to do, and I really like that. I mean, you get heaps of albums now, especially with like intro and fucking fire or lightning or some shit to set the mood. This just gets straight to the...
This is the guy that loves his theatrical...
Yeah.
You know, if it's not 11... It's not 11 minutes plus.
Well, the last few already. There's a 7-minute song, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's cool when you get a band that just gets straight to the music and let the whole album rest on what they're good at doing.
Yeah.
I like the tempo changes they're used in a couple of songs. It really takes the songs to a different place, and it's really well executed. It flows beautifully. Cool guitar work and a killer tone. Great use of melody. Yeah. I got a bit of a Judas Priest meets Slayer vibe. But once again, it's very hard to pigeonhole.
It's cool how we're all picking different
little bits of elements where I go, that kind of reminds you of this, but then it goes somewhere else.
I even got some of Iron Maiden's first album. Could be some of the production part for that, just some of the reminded me of that. There's a few different tempo type songs, which brings great diversity to the album. And like I said, this is a 7-minute song, so I'm happy. 8 out of 10. My standouts were Insomnia and Snakes.
Well, I knew of the band but hadn't gone to this album, so for me it was another surprise, but it was a good surprise. It's hard rock and metal with a bit of a twist, but also familiar elements that serve as brilliant gateways into this band. Energetic stuff. I got tastes of Wasp and Iron Maiden, along with a lot more than that as well, so that's why I find it funny that we're all referencing sort of different bands, which is actually really cool and shows you how different this band actually is. It's crossing a fair breadth of styles.
Could be original. It could be.
I know. You don't get many of them, especially in 2011. Think about that. None of that is a rip-off, though, and it stands out from the pack in the way they write and perform their songs. There's a lot of diversity, not only between the songs, but also within the songs now they're written. For a compilation, this is really well put together.
I didn't even know that. It just flowed perfectly.
You wouldn't think it. It flows well. I'm not sure if this is one of those cases where they've changed record labels, and as such they've sort of gotten two previous releases and put them together to repackage and promote to a new region. I don't know. So I think this one's on a German label, and so that might have been a case of just grab some stuff and try to get them into Europe a bit more. But this is cool. It's a strong listen. It really jumps out from the pack. Production is strong. Everything is captured really well. It shifts to accent the different things at different times as you want for those songs. It's well balanced. It has a sound wall, but it's got some good depth and space, which is really nicely done in it. Great tones. You can hear absolutely everything on this record. All the little effects and the Foley work is done well. Some cool layering to give you a bit of ear candy when you start listening on repeat as well. The vocals, now they change up between songs, was really well done on this record too. This has everything on it from almost doom metal all the way through to catchy hook-driven tracks. It all fits together somehow, though. A lot of if you listen to one extreme of the record to the other, you wouldn't think it'd fit together, but you go through the journey of listening to it, and it all works.
Nothing stood out where you go, hang on, where are they going now? It's just, it all does.
Even though it's diverse, it ties together.
Yeah, it flowed well. Yeah, it was good.
I'm spewing I've slept on this band. There's a little bit of clipping in the production and stuff, but this is one of those rare occasions for me where it actually works with the overall sound and gives it a bit of an 80s throwback effect on it, which is another element to tying into those references we've mentioned before. Strong performances across the board, especially with the guitar, but each and every part is serving the songs very well. The whole thing is well put together top to bottom. It's hard to fault this record. The only way you want it like this is down to taste alone. The execution is bang on. The track order is well thought out too. Again, with the compilation aspect, it holds up well on repeat listens, goes for just the right amount of time, and that time you listen to it flies by.
Yeah.
Good mix of longer and shorter tracks, which is where Dave gets his 7-minute happy song. This whole thing builds and dips nicely as a listen. If you like a heavier record that's a bit of a melting pot, then get onto this one. It won't disappoint you. This is a band that I'm intending to go further down the rabbit hole with. They've got a few other releases. I want to go and check them out. It's an immersive listen, and I'll be coming back to this one for sure. I'd love to know more about this band and the recordings they've done and the process of this one. 9 out of 10 from me. Stonewitch, Isolated, King of Thieves, and the Cellar X. So I think we've all chosen different
songs.
So check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Vanishing Point, Embrace the Silence. 13 tracks, 79 minutes. The third studio in the Australian metal band, released August 2005 via Surreal Records. Unfortunately, without going to the band itself, it's hard to get any more information than that. So, over to you.
Yeah.
Going first.
I'm not normally... This is kind of into the sort of power metal, symphonic metal,
This isn't your bag normally.
No, a little bit of Dream Theater stuff thrown in there, type of songwriting. You can't deny this band's talent.
Yeah.
Individually, as musicians, incredible musicians. The vocalist in particular, he's...
Silvio is great.
Yeah, he's really got something. The songwriting overall is phenomenal. Like, really intricate stuff. You've really got to... Again, not really something to put on in the background. Super intricate stuff. You got to really pay attention to it. And this, in some ways, blew me away.
Wow.
In other ways, though, I just thought this was too long.
I get what you mean with that.
Yeah, like...
Dave would disagree with you on that in a heartbeat.
So, it's an hour and 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like, and at...
It's an hour short for Dave.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Just getting started.
He's still tuning.
As a musician, I actually get why they've made that choice for this album, because there isn't really an obvious track that you would pick out and go, okay, that one needs to be cut, that one needs to be cut, that one needs to be cut.
Yeah.
There isn't that on this record, so I understand why they'd want to go, okay, this has got to stay, this has got to stay, this serves this purpose, etc., etc., etc. But to take in as one long chunk of music is a bit of a voyage. And even like if you were to play the first 50 minutes, I enjoyed it. If you were to play the last 50 minutes, you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because everything ties into itself, and it is an incredibly well put together album. It's just like, for as intense as it is and as intricate as it is, an hour and 20 minutes is just...
It's the embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, like it's you need to listen to this over and over and over again to really fully appreciate it, and I would love to do that, but yeah. 8 out of 10 for me. But it is
still pretty good.
It is a very good album. I don't want to put this down. I know I'm sounding negative. It's really well done, but as a whole, it is hard to take in.
No, it's a fair point.
Yeah, I was a fan of these guys from the first, and in particular the second album, when they were really doing, I guess, something here in the local scene for a while. But I did lose touch after Tangled in Dream, so this is, I think, 1 or 2 releases after that. I'm completely going to go against what you're saying. The first 2 albums were actually good. This is long songs for the sake of having long songs.
Okay.
There could have been edits right across this album for me.
Yeah.
Easily. Intros to outros, I found it very tiresome at some points. As good as Silvio's voice is, it's not the right voice for this style of music, unfortunately. And I thought about it back in the day, and I thought, no, hang on, maybe it's a little bit different. But now that I've gone away for a few years and come back to a new release, or a newer for me, he's not the right singer for this band. It needs to be a clean, high register voice, because it's traditional melodic metal with elements of prog, and that's fine. Production wasn't all that good for me. Really thought the drums were way too dry. I thought mixing issues right across the board with it again. Some keys just really irked me. They were way too high in the mix, and then there's other elements where the drums would come and be too heavy and too forward, and some songs too back. But that's been a consistent thing even in the first two albums. I remember hearing that back in the day as well.
I'm not sure who produced this. I'm not sure anything about
But if you like bands like Symphony X and Espionage that are doing their thing, you're going to like this if you haven't come across these guys already. What I did like is the fact that they have not strayed from what they
stuck to their guns.
Yeah, this is, they could have quite easily jumped on any bandwagon at this point and said, right, we need to do this. They haven't done that, and I give full, marks to that type of thing. You want to be a certain band or whatever, keep doing your thing, regardless of what comes in and out.
Yep.
So that's all great. Yeah, way too long of an album.
Okay.
I got to the last 4 tracks and I was...
fatigued.
Yeah, I was done. I was cooked, know.
David's still warming up.
That's basically everything I have to say about it. It was okay. Severe edits right across the board would have helped. My Virtue embraced Seasons of Sundays and Insight were my highlights, but 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that makes me want to check out the first two, to be honest.
Okay.
Far stronger releases, if you ask me.
Yeah.
For me, I love this band. I reckon they're great. It's an epic album. It's a long listen, but most of their works are on the longer side. Big riffs, bigger vocals. There's hooks on this. Plenty of balls about it though. For as melodic as this actually has a fair bit of punch to it overall. I like the energy, and I love how the drumming and the bass play against each other with the space in the songs. That adds a bit of a different flavour to this band. And it's not just frantic or going for it for the sake of going for it. So yes, it's intricate. There's thought processes going on with the way it's composed, and for me it came across. The composition uses space and breaks in the songs as well. The way the synth comes in over the top to accent things, I thought was really well done, and it plays against the guitar nicely. I thought for me the talent, like you were saying, is on display, and I didn't need to have edits. I was happy. I thought the writing was good.
I found it plotting a lot of the time.
Yeah. I can understand why people would, and I understand.
And I like this style of music.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like Dream Theater. I like bands. And that doesn't bother me. Write a long song. I don't give a shit how long it is, but make it interesting.
Okay.
It's the same thing from Metallica for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
I find it really hard to get through a full album. I can listen to a track.
Yeah.
And go, yeah, this is where they probably should have cut. But to go one track after the other, and you're 2.5 minutes into an intro, and then he's about to then start, and it just breaks down to something else. It's like, no, that's just lost the whole. No, it's just overindulgence for, it's what Iron Maiden did in their last album. It's like, we need to write a book for a song. Every song needs to be a book, rather than making songs to finish one book.
But I didn't mind the last Iron Maiden album, so I guess
but it's still... You can edit. It's like, to be metal, it doesn't mean you have to write a fucking 8 minutes to 15 minutes.
I will
song
agree with you on that, and a lot of it.
And a lot of bands are falling into this now. It's almost like they're trying to. It's the cool way to do it. It's not the cool way to do it if it's not interesting.
Well, this is 2005, so it's an older one. Look, for me, I enjoyed it. I thought the production was actually balanced as well. So you and I are on a complete different sides of the coin here, which is cool.
That music needs to sound pristine.
Yeah.
It does, and it doesn't.
I didn't mind it. I thought the push and pull was good. I thought that sort of stuff was cool.
Right across the board, I found problems with the mix.
Okay.
Guitars, some spots. And everything.
I like the ear candy in it. I like the layering of it. I like,
It was a little muddier than other things from this genre.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not like that,
No, it's not a polish to the shithouse.
Yeah.
But it needs
release.
to be. You need to have that. If you're going to do this type of music where you want to have shitloads of layers, you got to do it, man. Because otherwise it hurts it. Man.
In order to hear everything.
You know,
otherwise,
it just that grinds my gears when it just doesn't fucking.
That's our new catchphrase. That is right there. Oh,
it's like it's all there. It's just like if you had to spend the extra $2,000, that's what it's saying. It's like we run out of money, so now we have to put it out like this because their artwork and fucking everything's great. They package it up really well.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Because I like the grit. I thought that actually set it apart. I know a lot of this music is so pristine, and that's the lack of that.
Yeah, but how many times do we go to a fucking album from Sweden or whatever and go, wow, that's true. Yeah, even if you don't even fully like it, you go, fuck, it suddenly sounds great, and you just fucking thrash it.
But for
that's
me,
what this needed.
I understand what you're saying. I do.
I don't think you do.
I'm not saying it well enough.
Because you're disagreeing.
That's
but
okay.
then you agree.
Too.
You're confused. No.
I'm gonna go have a go.
For me, like, I understand how. I think for me, right, because we listen to the symphonic stuff and so much of it is so polished, and I guess. What was that one we did where it was like fucking ad metal the other week? I forget what it is. Beast in Black?
Yeah.
And so I get those bands, and then it's like, fuck, that's polished. And for me to go back to an older release that has a bit more grit to it.
But we're only talking about 2005.
Yeah, but.
By then, bands were fucking
that's
smashing out good products.
14, 15 years ago.
That's a lot of time for things to shift in production.
Like, that's only 1 year after Saint Anger.
This is better than Saint Anger.
But that's what but how long ago was Saint Anger?
I think it's 2 years.
Well, yeah, but even so, how long ago was that?
Yeah, but they intentionally fucking did it in this room.
This review's going longer than both those fucking albums. Anyway.
It's grinded my gears.
They want to be like a dream theatre, and that doesn't help them.
Yeah, but we're all in this together. Don't you know?
If we keep going, we're going to be as long as this album.
Yeah, I know.
We all want payers.
Through the door.
We've got Patreon, by the way.
To help us
we
buy our
mention
next
that yet?
bottle of Jack Daniels. Yes, we did. Anyway, I thought there was thought-provoking lyrics. I thought there was depth and storytelling in this album. The whole thing I thought was intelligent yet accessible. The synth wasn't overpowering on this. It's well balanced across the board for mine. I really enjoyed this one. It's got a good mix of long and short songs. That said, if you don't like this genre of music, this is not going to change your mind. But if you've got a passing interest in the more melodic and grand side of things, which I'm being completely disproven on because the guy that loves this shit doesn't like it, and the guy that doesn't like this shit does like it. So fuck what I'm saying.
I lust for it occasionally. I never said I'm in love with it. I like what I like.
Long story short, I think this holds up well 10 years after its release, and if you like riffs and melody with some nice guitar and synth work, this is for you. 9 out of 10 from me. Live to Live, Season of Sundays, Embrace and Hollow. Check it out for yourselves, and we move on to the next one.
Oh, that went off the rails.
Airbourne, No Guts, No Glory. 14 tracks, 49 minutes. The second studio album from the Australian hard rock band, released March 2010 via Roadrunner and EMI. Produced by Johnny Kay, recorded at Groovemaster Recordings in Chicago and Hothouse Recordings in Melbourne. 3 singles were released in No Way But the Hard Way, Blonde, Bad and Beautiful, and Bottom of the Well. This album went on to peak at number 19 here in Australia, number 90 in the US, number 31 in the UK, while doing pretty well across Europe. Go for it.
I've always loved Airbourne since the first time I heard them and the first time I saw them live, which was in a dingy little pub in Perth.
Wow.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It would have held, maybe 200 people, and
That'd be
they
cool.
tore the room to shreds,
Yeah.
and so I've been a fan ever since. They've got their haters, and they can collectively all go and get fucked, as far as I'm concerned. This is a fun, fantastic, hard-working rock band. Anyone that saw them at Download will attest to that.
Yeah.
They were in a pretty classy field of bands, both rock, metal, and all genres, and they did
And they were a phone-in too.
pretty close to stealing the show, and they came onto the bill pretty late. They were bloody amazing.
I'm not stealing this show, not up against Ghost Nail and Weaponry, but anyway.
No, true, but they're playing in the middle of the afternoon, and they grabbed everyone, and they
So loud, wasn't it?
but they shook the place silly. I thought they were great.
As far as a band coming in last minute, they fucking made an impact. They
Yeah.
should have been higher on the bill. I agree with
they
that.
turned it up, but they should have been on the bill to start with.
Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, look, this is simple rock and roll. This is rock, drink, fuck, repeat. It's great. Why they don't get radio support in this country is a huge mystery that I'll never figure out.
these guys and the Lazies.
Yeah, The second album is always tricky, and I reckon they smashed it on this. I reckon they did a great job. I love the first album, and I think this one actually tops it in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
the songwriting has developed and matured, not to the point where they lost who they are and what they did. They just got better at it, you know, which is cool. They haven't gone too far away from their formula. It's just an awesome album from an awesome band. If you like Airbourne and you haven't heard this one, check it out. 9.5 out of 10. Highlight, It Ain't Over Till It's Over, No Way But the Hard Way, Blonde, Bad and Beautiful, Bottom of the Well, and Armed and Dangerous.
Okay.
It's hard to pick just a few standouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got the same problem.
Now for the prog snob's opinion of it.
Fuck off. Still very much an AC/DC fan, thank you. Actually, my first time hearing Airborne.
Yes.
That wasn't planned.
This is going to TV.
My first time hearing this band, Airborne, was actually a Big W. And they used to play it every single day because of the video for Too Much Too Young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was on a compilation DVD they were playing at the time.
Okay.
It had a whole bunch of things that were released at the time, and every single day I got to hear this. It's like, fuck it, I'm going to buy this album. This is fucking amazing. As far as No Guts, No Glory goes, this is an amazing album. It's got everything you want from a rock and roll album. Great hooks, high energy, and it's barbecue music. Summertime, drinks, beer, barbecue.
Yep.
Fuck the vegans. Tight rhythm section, the vocals are perfect for this style of music, the solos are flashy and in your face, and the gang vocals are well done. It's very much from the AC/DC school of rock, but this is better than anything AC/DC have done in well over 10 years, especially that Rock or Bust album. Fuck, that was terrible. It is well past time we pass the torch. Airbourne should be much more appreciated here in Australia. 8 out of 10. Born to Kill, No Way But the Hard Way, Blonde, Bad and Beautiful, It Ain't Over Till It's Over, Overdrive, Back on the Bottle, Kicking It Old School. I don't know how many songs I left out, but the whole fucking album's brilliant.
Not much. Tipping. Now, of all the bands we're doing tonight for this special, this is the least metal of them all, but this was just very, very popular still amongst the audience polling, so we had to put it in there. This album still packs one hell of a punch, though. These guys cop more flack than they deserve for the whole comparison to AC/DC. I don't get it.
Yeah. Pass the torch.
Yeah,
Done.
that joke is over. Let's just support these guys and what they do. This thing oozes attitude, swagger, and groove. I love the swing on this record. Nice chunky riffs with some blues and feel to them. Great lead work over the top of, and it suits on this. Well, Nala's just, I don't know what the fuck she's doing. This is a band, like, the snarling vocals are more than melodic enough, and this is a band that convinces you that they believe what they're talking about. Even if you don't believe it, you believe they believe it, which is the infectious part of it all. Production is a bit hot and on the compressed side of things. I do understand it. They could have dialed it back a bit for mine. Aside from that, though, this is really well mixed. Some great tones captured on this, especially in the bass and lower registers, I thought, on this, especially on the guitar. The drums could have had a bit more oomph to them, but they cut through enough overall. The vocals are in the upper register, and that sort of is the counterbalance to the warmth they're giving to the other stuff. The album is pretty much foot to the floor for the duration of the record. There are some nice tempo changes within the album, but you get the feeling that you're either going fast or faster with this kind of a release. Yeah. It's not fatiguing. If you want an album that's cool to drive to and you don't mind speeding fines, this is one for you. There are some big hooks in this. A lot of it is perfectly suited that live audience involvement. I think that might have been where the step up from the first album to this one comes from, is the experience of being out on the road and doing it a bit. This is high-octane rock, toying with the space, but it's quintessentially Australian at the same time. It's not the most original thing in the world. We all know that. They're not trying to be. They just play what they love, and that's infectious because they do love it so much. The fun comes out of the speakers and drags you along for the ride. It's headbanging, toe-tapping rock that's soaked in beer and has more than enough swagger to go around. From a band that should be the soundtrack to your party, you can go a lot worse than this. Yes, the AC/DC comparison is there, but if you like that band, you will like this. If you don't, you won't. It's pretty straightforward. That said, I think these guys are criminally overlooked in this country and are far too easily dismissed. I think listen to these guys, see them live, you get a chance to. This is fun rock, just have a few drinks to. 8 out of 10 for me. Raise the flag, armed and dangerous, it ain't over till it's over, and back on the bottle and chewing the fat. So we have a lot there to go
Raise
through.
the flag as a standout for my daughter as well. She's like, Daddy, what song's this? I like this.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There you go. The next generation enjoy this one too. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think.
Hi, welcome to this week's Gig Guide. I'm Jodie.
I'm Nikki.
First off, I want to say a special thanks to Alt Cult, Rockstar Finance and Hydra Rehearsal Studios for their support.
Make sure you look up the events that interest you online for further information.
Kicking it off on Saturday, July the 6th, Grant Burns will be doing a special live in-store performance at Alt Cult to celebrate the release of his upcoming Chaos in Design album.
Also, Brutal by the Bay featuring Maniacs, Maggot Bar, Thor and Erotesis at Young Street Supper Club.
On Friday, July the 19th, with Lily Eye, Shadow Queen, Eat the Damn Orange, and Honeybone at the Bendigo Hotel.
Give you my fucking honeybone. Right, from now until October 5th, Sisters Dull! They're on their Black Mirror tour playing Victoria, ACT, South Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania and Queensland.
From now until July the 26th, Lord are playing Canberra, Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne, Adelaide and Sydney.
That is a corker. Get there. Friday, July 5th, Demon Head are having a free listening party for their upcoming Black Devil Lies album at Whole Lotta Love. Yeah. DJ sets, giveaways and an all-star metal cover set from band and friends.
Also, Forge at the Evelyn featuring Lord, Orpheus Omega and Triple Kill and Ironstone.
1, 2, 3, 4. Bang.
Nikki's on the floor.
Boom. Thursday, July 11th, Toehider, Logic Defies Logic and Inferiority Complex are at the Bendigo Hotel.
On Saturday, July the 20th, Arcane Saints and Fate Accompli are teaming up for a double single launch with supports from the Vendettas at Whole Lotta Love.
Check this page for their film clip. It was posted during the week. Friday, July 26th, Echo Del Tusca are launching their single, Gold in the Silver, at Whole Lotta Love with support from Cash, They're Back, and Stackhouse.
Awesome. As always, lineup and events are subject to change, so keep up to date with those that interest you via Facebook and hit us up via Facebook if there is something that you would like for us to plug for you.
In your dry bum hole. Again, special thank you to Alt Cole, Rockstar Finance and Hydra Rehearsal Studios for their support.
So, drink up.
Rock on with your frock on.
Dreadnaught, Down to Zero, 10 tracks, 43 minutes, second studio from the Australian metal band, released October 2000 via Dark Carnival. Produced by Andy Baldwin, recorded at Sing Sing Studios. It doesn't look like there are any singles released from this, even though it was their first major label release, as Dark Carnival was the development label for Roadrunner at the time. Go for it.
I love that this was on the list because I discovered Dreadnaught on this album.
Oh, cool.
I saw him back in the day at the Toad and Corner Hotel, and I was following him because I really liked this album a lot, and I hadn't heard it fully for years. Yeah. So going back to it was almost like listening to it and you go, oh, fuck, I forgot how good this album is. It's a hard rock... It's a dirty hard rock release, right? It's before they've gone into where they are now. Yeah. Like they're more of a metal band now, if you ask me. But
well, There Will Be Blood and stuff like that is pretty heavy stuff now.
So it's different to this. But geez, what an energy on the album! Like, fuck, it's good. It's powerful. But it's not your just one pony. You know, there's a lot of depth in this album. There's a lot of different songs and different moods and. Lyrically, it was great, I thought. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of, but it flowed really well. Like, before you know it, you're at track 7 or 8 and it's almost over. It's like, I love this album. This is one of my favourite Aussie releases. Cool.
Well, I draw out the Who Does the Reviews at random. I'm glad you got this one.
Yeah. Finally, for once, I'm not shitting something. Shit canning the fuck out of it because, they can be better. These guys were good, and they still are good. And I really enjoy this album a lot. Like I said, it takes you on a journey right through.
It does.
I forget the singer's name, but fuck, he's got a good voice.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful voices you can ever... And he used to be able to... Well, I'm sure he's still... I haven't seen Dreadnought in years, but live...
He still pumps it out.
Fucking
saw him at the Heavy 10.
Oh, okay.
They were good there.
Yeah, no, fuck, great vocal. Like, just really good. 9 out of 10.
Cool.
Yeah. Fucking love it. I really do. Dead in the Dirt, Scumbag and The Game were standouts, but I really love the whole album. And
it's a good complete piece, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not... one-dimensional. It's actually, if you go through it, it does take you on a journey of different moods and feelings, and you don't really get that with albums, not like this. Not in a rock band. You know, you might throw a ballad here and there, but generally it's about trying to be, you know, that arena type band. This was just like streets sort of vibe, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Cool.
Liked it.
Another band I don't know, haven't heard of it. After checking out their Facebook page and finding out they've been around for 25 years, I should probably hang my head in shame on that. Yeah.
Get out.
Okay, bye. Heavy guitar riffs and harsh singing. Not a big fan of the harsh vocals in general, but they were done pretty well on this, and I could actually enjoy what I was hearing.
Better than Axel.
Oh, here we go. Shots fired.
Yeah, I'll just let that one go. I thought this was going to be a lot heavier and thrashier than it was. It was quite a surprise. It started off like that, and then it just got really moody and pacey as it went along. And like you were saying, it's not a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
It's very multi-dimensional, but honestly, I think I prefer the heavier stuff at the start of the album.
Check out the last album
I'll probably
we
have to
did.
check out their newer stuff.
Yeah, they've become a different band.
Yeah.
a metal band.
Okay,
So,
might be a band worth looking into a bit more because it was interesting. It was not what I expected, and held my attention for the whole album. But yeah, I like the earlier stuff on the album better. I gave it 7 out of 10. Dead in the Dirt, Moving Target, and Scumbag were my standouts.
All right. Well, for me, this one came as a bit of a surprise. I'm familiar with the band, have been for quite some time, but I'm more familiar with the newer stuff than the older stuff.
It's almost like a completely different band.
It
now.
is. Yeah, you look at the last videos and that and the last album, and you go, okay, they're heavy, and they've always had that element about them, but this goes much more into the moody angst sort of driven.
Is it the same
stuff.
members or has it been lineup changes?
Not
That's
huge.
I don't. Maybe
huge.
one member.
A few members
here
have
and there.
changed, but the vocalist certainly hasn't. So
Yeah.
you know, that's the important element in this regard. Dark and brooding, especially lyrically, like you were saying before. There's a bit going on with it. It's a little bit time stamped in that regard because it does come from that era. And so, as a consequence of that, I wonder how many of these songs from this record are staples of the live set today compared to what they've been.
It'd be hard pressed, I think.
I don't know how
Where they are
fit.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that said, this is pretty good if you like it darker and moody and all that sort of stuff with just heavy rock to metal that goes into that area. It's intense and intelligent at the same time. It's got a bit of wit about it. It's not overly complicated. There are some nice shifts in the writing that convey the moods of the songs to time with those lyrics. This is really well done stuff. And I found this right at the time. If I'd have found this when it was released like you did, I reckon I'd be all over it at that point in time.
It was really fresh. Back then, like, you know, rock was really suffering at that time. Like, the 90s rock just died in the arse for me.
Yeah, but this was
And this was coming around, I'm like, fucking hell. Yeah, finally, something good. And, you know, with a bit of substance and meaning behind it.
I think if you're a fan of Deftones and things like that, you get a bit out of that in this record. I think it's got a bit of that era about it. It's got a very somber feeling about it all. The muted midtones and the vocals sort of come back a bit in the mix. But that's all rounded out by the warmth in the bottom end and some almost bright top end by comparison. There's a lot going on tonally on this, and I thought the production was really good in that regard. Some really good use of space, and they haven't hit the sound wall too hard like so many other bands are doing at the same time too.
Yeah.
And for how dark and moody this is, there's actually some very cool variation in the sound, the style and the tempo as well. There is a bit more to this than meets the eye. There's some very cool energy, and the track order is really well thought out to keep this interesting and really take you on the journey with the record. When this gets angry, you believe it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Those tracks do bring the fire to this record and break up the introspective stuff, which is the more somber stuff going on. The intensity, though, on all the songs is captured really well. The performances are great. This is a solid band. These are well-honed songs. I love the way they leave the gaps in this for things like the bass and the drums, the other tones to take the lead of the songs at certain times. But I like how the vocals cut through, but they're almost always just that little touch back in the mix as well. So it's a really... It just sucks you in because you're listening in.
It's
for the
very much
vocal.
like a live recording.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't even think this is tracked. But it's very well captured live recording, you know. Like, I just want to add too real quick. Someday, the last song, what a way to fucking round the album.
No, that was
like
a really nice touch on that. Such
it's
a nice
eerie, but
soundtrack.
it's sweet. It's just, it's fucking...
The emotion on this record was
That
really
chick
cool.
who sings with
Yeah,
him,
that
like,
was cool.
It's fucking, it's good. Fucking good.
Yeah. The panning on the guitar was cool on this, which gives you a bit of that ear candy side of things, and I like the switches where the vocals sit on the mix of different songs too.
Yeah.
If you like it dark and gritty, this is certainly for you. Plenty of anger balanced nicely against some more introspective moments. Emotion and conviction are the kings on this record. Both are served well here. The atmosphere here is in the songwriting and the performance as opposed to the production, so to speak. The songwriting and performances are what gets you there. The production is meant to capture what's going on in the room. If you like something that for me is a bit of a blend between the Mark of Cain and Deftones, then this is one to check out for sure. The female vocal on the last track you were talking about is really nice. It's just a haunting little touch on the record. Yeah. 8 out of 10 from me. The Game, Scumbag, Undone, and Someday, which you talked about before. Yeah. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Barbariön, Ram the World, 8 tracks, 44 minutes. The second studio album from the Australian metal band, released June 2013 independently. It's hard to get a lot more information than that, aside to say that last year the band celebrated their 10th anniversary and are renowned for their live shows. Go.
Yeah, so judging by the name and the album cover, I thought this was going to be like a old power metal release. And with track 1, you did get a little bit of that vibe. With a little bit of harshness to it, right? Okay. Track 2, Man of Men, and we started to get a little bit more of a party metal vibe. And I started to prick up a little bit.
You did or your ears did?
I did.
You didn't know this band at all?
No.
Oh, okay. He's going in blind.
Track 3, Cocaine Maiden. At this point, I was starting to dig it. By the time we got to the wood chopping song, this is one of the greatest releases I've ever heard. This is brilliant.
I had a feeling you'd like this one.
I've listened to this album like 10 times since I reviewed it on Monday.
It's a short album.
It's freaking great. Yeah. This is like... I sent it to a friend of mine and he goes like, it's like life coaching for like wood choppers, like fucking...
All I can think of right now is I'm a lumberjack and I'm all...
No, but like this is unbelievable. This is brilliant. I can understand why like this they would translate well live.
Yeah,
it is definitely a live kind of party. Like the way I can describe it is like a party folk metal kind of thing.
Yeah,
it does have that kind of rolling kind of thing going on. It is a very constant groove. A lot of triplet kind of stuff going through it, and it is absolutely brilliant. Chop is obviously the highlight because that is like the breakdown at the end of that song with those pumping lyrics at the end is just gorgeous. 9 out of 10.
Fuck. Okay. Cool. Here we go. I know you liked it.
In more ways than one, this is Fairy Undies metal. Fairy Undies metal isn't always my thing, but I fucking love this band. Yeah, if you like metal at all, it's really hard not to find something to enjoy on this because they do cross over a few different areas there. But yeah, their trick really is as a live band. They are bloody incredible because they're in the full kit.
Yeah.
They're just...
Dress ups, cheap pyro, the fucking works.
Yeah, well, they did their pyro show at Max Watts one night, and they'd obviously gone to a lot of effort and checked out some coin. They fucking axes with bloody Roman candles coming out. It was fucking awesome. Brilliant. The 3 guitar attack gives them a lot of flexibility to do some cool stuff with like twin leads, but still with a really solid rhythm track under it, and that happens live, but they also capture it really well in the album. It can get silly, but don't think for a second that these guys can't play. Oh, no, because they bloody can. Phenomenal, and they're really good songwriters. Like, it might be silly and all that kind of stuff, but it's really well composed. The vocal won't be for everyone, but I love it, and it fits perfectly. I think it's awesome. The genius of Barbariön is their live show, but they've done a great job of capturing it. I think it's really cool. It's really solid. Guitars are chunky, but they never overpower. I think it's really well done. I also gave it 9 out of 10. The highlights, most certainly, Chop. Man of Men, Ran the World, and Victory Surrounds You.
All right. Now, I haven't touched anything from this band since the EP before this, way back on the early days of the show. So for me, this is kind of what I expect out of Manowar if Manowar didn't take themselves seriously.
And we're better.
Yeah.
Well, this is true. This has all the cliches you could possibly want and is all done with tongue firmly planted in cheek. This is fun metal, meant for nothing more than having a good time while listening to it. Riff-driven with some nice dual guitar work, the rough and ready vocals that convey the angle of Barbariön, they do that really well. Lyrically, this covers any and all ground, from fantasy to pure fun. The band and the performances are tight. What you said before about they can play is without doubt. The songs have been honed well. It's all very well written. It's worth noting they've done a good job on that regard. And the hooks are fucking infectious on this record. The whole thing is a bit rough around the edges. It has that rough and ready kind of a feel to it. But that suits this band, what they're going for. You wouldn't want this to be cleaned up more than it is, because then it would feel disingenuous. It wouldn't feel like it was the real thing. Not that this is... It's weird to say that it's the real thing when it's a band with a Barbariön stick.
They took the gimmick and
owned it.
Yeah. They became the gimmick.
Yeah.
For this. It's
great. Which is cool. This is well performed, well mixed. There's nothing wrong with this at all. It's just got the right amount of grit and dirt to make sure it sort of stays fun and keeps you interested. It's well balanced. It's not a huge amount of depth in this sonically, but there is a way that this push and pulls with the guitar and the vocal, for example, which is really well captured. It's a tighter mix than a lot of other ones. Not a lot of reverb, but it does sound like a very real representation of a talented band at play. Overall, it is a little gimmicky for me. It doesn't hold up the best on repeat, but that said, while it may not be a go-to or an all-nighter kind of an album, for me, it is one you will certainly pull out from time to time to put something different on, to break it up. It's cliche-driven, heavy metal, heavy rock. It's a hell of a lot of fun, well worth a listen. 7.5 out of 10 from me. Sons of War, Cocaine Maiden, and Ram the World are my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Defryme, Pure Killer. We listened to this on YouTube because it's not available on streaming services. It's 12 tracks for 46 minutes for the Suck on This bonus edition. It looks to be the one and only studio album from this much-loved band. Released 1993 via BMG. 4 singles were released from it in God Inside Man, Pure Killer, Mama Said Knock You Out, and Sanity. Even though this album peaked number 4 here in Australia, it only sold moderately and the band broke up not long after its release. They are back together again now and doing new stuff in 2019. So we'll see what happens next. Go for it.
I remember this band back in the early 90s. It was a time when things were changing, and when I heard the song Mama Said Knock You Out, I didn't like it. The whole funk, hip-hop, influence, alternative rock thing never did it for me. And the funny thing was, at the time I was 13 and I was listening to gangster rap like fucking Ice-T and NWA.
I never understand how you don't get into the...
Yeah, well, after this I pretty much stopped listening to hip-hop, so I think that kind of the whole crossover thing started to just... Yeah.
So this killed it for you?
Yeah, pretty much. And it was a dark time in my life. We all make mistakes. Yeah. That was the only song I knew from this band, so I wasn't expecting to get much out of this album. But there were a few surprises. There are some parts where they get a really cool groove going. The guitar work is pretty cool too. And I was surprised to hear a solo here and there, so I kind of underrated this band a bit. It was not like flashy or dexterous solos or anything, but they kind of suit the song, so got to give them credit where it's due. The electronic noises are fucking annoying. It is not necessary. I don't know how any musician in any genre can think that electronic fucking pings have any place in a song. It shits me. Overall, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's still not for me. But this does shit over anything Limp Bizkit have ever done. I gave it 4 out of 10. It's no standouts.
Fuck. Wow.
All right.
Follow that up.
I can, and I'm for once not the arsehole here. I actually like this. I fucking think this is a great album.
I like this album.
I remember the band name at the time, but again, if you like bands like Faith No More and Rage Against the Machine, they fall in between those two.
So that's probably...
And I don't love that music, but I do enjoy it. Yeah. You know, like I do own albums from both those bands, and hearing this is like, that falls smack bang right in the middle of those two bands, and I thought it was really well done.
Yep.
Fucking sounded great. Mm-hmm.
Especially on YouTube. Like, it still sounds good on YouTube.
I actually bought it. I found a copy of it.
Fuck.
So I found it in fucking Adelaide, and I bought it because I fucking liked it. And
nice.
So $10 for the shipping. Fuck yeah. I was surprised that I probably didn't get into it because I was listening to, Angel Dust and fucking Epic and all that shit that was going on, Faith No More wise. Not so much Rage Against the Machine I sort of got into later on, but Faith No More I thought was really different and they were ahead of their time, if you ask me, Faith No More. And these guys were just like, fuck, how did I not hear about these guys more?
If you're a big Faith No More fan, this is a band that you should listen to.
I didn't, like a lot of Aussie shit when I was young, I don't know, you just weren't, you're not subject to it, you don't get it,
I mean, these guys got some media exposure, but not the same saturation as Faith No More were getting, so it's a bit
you always heard about the bands abroad before you actually
hear about that.
Especially when I was like 12 and 13, I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on here back in the day. And this was great, and it's a shame that it was only the one album. You know, it's great that they're back now. It'd be interesting to hear what they're doing.
It would be,
whether it's a continuation or who knows. But yeah, Pure Killer, Brass Monkey, Mama Said Knock You Out was just fucking great, and Gun.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Really like that. 7 out of 10. Yeah,
Cool.
I enjoyed it. It's good.
This is an example of one of those bands where I wish they had a more comprehensive record of what they've done over the years. It's a shame, you know, they've like a very limited catalogue and very limited information to go and work through for these guys.
Yeah, they're hanging out with the Bengal Tigers, that's why.
Yeah, maybe. For me, putting this on again after so long, like I don't have a copy of it, I've heard it before, but it's amazing how many of these songs I found myself going, fuck, I know this one, I know that one, I know this one, after not listening to it.
I do remember parts of songs going, fuck, I heard this somewhere on TV or something was going on.
I was singing along in the first listen. I haven't listened to this in years, and I was singing along in the first listen. Going, fuck, okay, this is cool. That's when you know songs are well written for mine. If you're a fan of bands like you mentioned with Faith No More and Rage Against the Machine, but I also think Living Colour is probably the biggest gateway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Out of those three bands, Rage Against the Machine is the least comparable one. This is heavy rock with a big dose of funk in it. The syncopation and the use of rhythm across the board, including the vocals, is really well done. This thing swings fucking hard, and it's got great use of the offbeat on this, like a lot of, you know, the 2 and the 4, but the 1 and the 3. They use those really well on this record. I love the lyrics on this. They're really well thought out and crafted. Fantastic vocal performance to suit those lyrics as well. Lots of attitude on this. It's got heaps of power in there. You'd be hard pressed, like if you went to see this band live, the vocalist would be the front and center of your awareness, which is a good and bad because the rest of the band are fucking great. Like you can hear in the playing and all sort of stuff, and it's like all the performances are fantastic on this record. I love the way different elements like the soundscape touches were added on this. Like Dave may not like the noises that were on this record, but I thought they were good.
No, but it suits the style of music.
Songs, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like when Pure Killer comes on,
Yeah.
that opening of the record is like, fuck, here's a statement moment, and that was cool for me.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it.
I don't get it. I don't like it. The noise.
But he likes.
We don't like you, but
That's
we
fair.
tolerate
20-minute long
so.
fucking songs and 5-hour long albums.
At least there's no fucking pings in those albums.
No, because you're on pingers while you're listening to that fucking shit. The album has that blend of softer and heavier tracks that were the staple of the time this came out. For all that, though, the craft is bang on and gives you the emotional journey you want out of a record like this, full of ups and downs. This will pump you up, but also give you time to breathe and just let you take it in.
I would have loved to
as
see
well.
this band on this
would be,
album.
yeah,
This would have been a fun gig to see.
be awesome live.
Yeah.
These guys and Horsehead, like two different bands, but it would be a great fucking gig to see
Did
those
see
two play
Horsehead.
together.
They opened up. Was it Metallica or who was it?
Yeah, they did support Metallica.
They did a big show.
Support
That's
everyone.
where I saw them the one and only time. Yeah.
I love the groove on this, use of space. Every piece of this band gets to shine different times. They use dead air on this record really well too. They just know how to use space as a great counterpunch. Not many bands do that, and that was cool. It's got quirky, arty little elements in this as well. It's a good, diverse little melting pot. It all ties together really well though. I think it's an overlooked album from an overlooked band. It's hard to go too deep on the production because it was on YouTube, but that said, this still sounds pretty good. Even in that
It
format.
holds up.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought the mix was well done. The wide array of tones was good. It's warm and harsh, solid yet atmospheric. They got a really good dynamic going on with this. That's got some fantastic layering applied to it as well, and some really nice. They play with the depth a bit on things, which is really cool. Mama Said Knock You Out. That has got to be one of the most covered songs in all of rock and metal. We were listening to the other versions earlier tonight before we started filming this episode. This version does work very well. All in all, this is a very fine record that should have been bigger than it was. I'll be looking forward to what they're doing this year, and hopefully they progress more in this line. I don't know. We'll see what we go. The bonus tracks on this one, though, were cool. They're not just filler. They're actually really worth a listen. Check this one out. I reckon there's something here for almost everyone except for Dave. 9 out of 10. Therapy, Pure Killer, Orange, and God Inside a Man. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Mason with Impervious. 9 tracks, 36 minutes. The second album from the Australian metal band released October 2017 independently. Produced by the band members Jimmy Benson and Grant Burns. Mixed and mastered by Ermin Hamidovic. 2 promo tracks have been released in Tears of Tragedy and Cross This Path. This is the second release. But first album from this band with new lead guitarist Grant Burns, and this is the band somewhat rising from the ashes after they disbanded in 2015. Go for it.
This one is nice and heavy. I can see they're touring at the moment with Frankenbach and King Parrot, and that sounds about right.
Yep.
Fucking terrifying, but about right. That would be a serious gig.
That'd be a good gig.
That would hurt in the morning. This album is really, really well done. It's beautifully produced. There's no sign of the muddiness you quite often get from stuff this heavy. Plenty of separation between all the instruments, and it's done beautifully. The vocals too, I think, really, really well captured. I love the guitar tone on it. Like, as a guitarist, I'm just like, oh Christ, that is sensational. And the playing for that matter as well. It's just, comes together. This is a really, really solid metal album. Heavy and unrelenting. The songs are really well written, but with enough space and enough time for you to take a breath. There's not a slow track.
Yeah.
But, there's parts in there that you can, just take yourself out for a minute and then sort of launch again. Really good. This is just a brutal metal assault on the senses. And if you don't like it heavy, well, you're watching the wrong fucking show, so it doesn't really matter. I give it 9 out of 10. The highlights were Tears of Tragedy, Impervious, The Afterlife, and Sacrificed.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've actually still got at home the original Mason EP from before they broke up, Warhead.
Wow, yeah, Warhead's good.
Yeah, I bought it at a Sunday night gig at the Tote with Mason and Harlot both playing. Mm-hmm. So big shout out to Johnny for dragging me out to that. It was a good night. Also, remember, go see local bands because you may just come up with your new favourite band.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And Mason are good live.
Oh, yeah. This band is incredible. Really, really, really incredible. This is what thrash metal should sound like in 2019 or 2017. I think this album came out. This is really phenomenal stuff. I really, honestly, don't have too much to say about this because I really can't fault it. Honestly, and a lot of that is due to taste. Like, I know, like you said, there's no soft song or anything like that. I don't like the soft songs in these kind of albums. It is a complete brutal assault there, and like the ideas to break up the album are the little time signature changes and the little halftime spots and all that. It's very much, that old school style of thrash, but they've picked up all the little tricks that you've learned from the newer styles of metals, with be it your progs or your Panteras and Lamb of Gods and all that, and all those little songwriting tricks, and brought it into an older thrash style, and they've just done it absolutely perfectly. Anything that this band does, I hope this band blows up as big as they can, because I don't really know that many thrash metal bands that are better than Mason. There are many bands that are as good as Mason, but no one that you can go, oh, this band blows them out of the water.
No, not anymore.
No, these guys do it well. Yeah. If you're an old school guy that goes, well, they don't do it as good as they did it in the 80s, this is the band to look for, because this will blow your socks off. Burn and Tears and Tragedy are my standouts. 9.5 out of 10.
Nice. Well, it's good to get around to this one after we missed it on the release cycle in 2017. This one picks up where the debut album left off, but it shows some nice growth. It's still heavy, fast thrash, which you know and love from this band, but they've added a bit more of sort of like the blackened thrash side of things to it as well. They've got a little more melody on it. It's very, very cool, very well done. It's short, sharp, and punchy, but this has all the blistering riffs and drums you could want, but they've used guitar solos on this in a way that really stands out for mine. The lead work is often a bit slower and actually brings contrast to the album in a really well composed way. So in most of these albums you get really fucking blistering guitar lead work. These guys actually sit back and have a bit more blues and soul to the lead guitar work, which is fucking... And the tones you were talking about, that really gives this album a big point of difference for mine. This thing pounds overall. When they switch the focus onto the groove and the swing... Fuck, they nailed it. Jesus. That aspect on this record was fucking cool. They've almost got hooks. Not so much lyrically and vocally, but just in the riffs and the guitar work. That was awesome. That's another dimension to this band. I love the tempo changes mid-songs, how they break things up, which in turn breaks up the album. The whole thing flies by, and you'll be hitting the repeat button very, very quickly on this one from mine. Production is solid, well mixed and balanced overall. It has a big wall of sound, but the focus shifts to the depth and the space, where it brings a haunting atmosphere to this record, which again ties in a little bit to the black metal side of things a little bit. It's very well done. The vocals are back just a touch, which allows them to sort of cut through in just the right way for me. There's some very cool panning on this as well. Listen to this album with a big setup, big speakers, just fill the fucking room with it. It's great. If you like it fast and thrashy, this is most certainly for you. That said, I think this is interesting enough that for bands like these guys and Harlot, they're still interesting enough that they'll cut through to a lot more people than they probably have any right to in that regard. So I think this is a lot more accessible than people think it is. I've always liked this band. This album has put them much more on the map for me. Like, Warhead was great. This has set them up from that. It's been out for a little while. It's been toured. I'm hoping for more new music soon. I can't wait to hear what's next from these guys after this release. We have some of the best metal bands in the world in this country right now. Get out to a local and see them. Mason is right in the middle of that conversation, not below anyone else. They are right in the thick of it. I need to see these guys live again. 9 out of 10 from me. Afterlife, Cross This Path, Impervious, and Tears of Tragedy. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Witchgrinder, The Demon Calling, 12 tracks, 42 minutes, the debut album from the Australian metal band, released May 2013 independently and via RTD Records, rather. 2 promo tracks were released in The Demon Calling and Boneyard. This album contains a few tracks from their previous EP, but it's also another one of those bands. It's hard to get a lot more information than that one, so yeah.
A band I'm not familiar with at all, didn't know. It's a good listen, and I'm sure fans of the style are bound to enjoy it. But the whole evil lyric thing has been done to death for me, so that part didn't do much for me. The music itself is really cool, though. Like how they create the atmosphere in some of the tracks, which is really cool. Not really my thing, though, but it's really good for what it is. 6 out of 10. I like Jack the Ripper, though. That was cool. Short and sweet.
I love Witchgrinder, but I'm a lot more familiar with the second album, which is The Haunting, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And because that was my introduction to it, and I love that album. I thought it was sensational. And I only heard this one a couple of times, so it was interesting to actually sit down and look at it, critique it if you
want to call we do that.
If you call it that, which I wouldn't dare. This is a great band, and they take a lot of cues from a lot of different styles of heavy music, and they turn it into something that I think is very original and very, very cool. There's a bit of industrial, there is some black metal and stuff like you said in the lyrical context. There's a bit of thrash, and there's even that little bit of electronica. There's some beeps and buzzes and shit that would normally drive you and me nuts, to be honest with you.
That.
Oh, yeah. No, generally not, but I think these guys use it very, very cleverly. It's clever use of the studio full stop for these guys, but it's not to mask a lack of talent. It's used as an instrument, and it's great. The band is spot on. I think the vocals and lyrics are really, really good. The guitars and the solos, which I don't think they actually do enough of on this album because they're really good solos.
I'll pay that.
I'd like a little bit more of it. The rhythm section is amazing. The drum sound particularly I love on this album. It's heavy and evil. If your family is slightly concerned about your sanity and stability, play this really fucking loud and just remove all doubt because this is awesome. If you like metal at all, I'd be surprised if there wasn't something in here that grabs you. You might not like the whole thing, but there'll be something. I love it. I want more from this band. 2 albums, and they're both brilliant. 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Highlights: Boneyard, Jack the Ripper, Most Evil, and The Demon Calling.
I didn't expect the way this review's gone. I thought it'd be more the other way around, but this is... Because I know this stuff normally would shit you to tears, so it's actually cool that it's different.
When done well, obviously.
Yeah, I know. Now, for me, this is my first time going through to this band, so how I've not gotten onto this band sooner, considering the bands that I like, what the fuck?
Because you got that Marilyn Manson, and you got the
that,
bloody...
Rob Zombie, Rammstein, Powerman 5000, Ministry, that's all in here.
Yeah,
if you like those bands, get onto this one today, because this is fucking cool. This kind of takes the drum beats from Rammstein, the vocals and effects from the other bands, but then adds its own fucking cool lead guitar work over top of all that. It's dark, gothic metal, really riff-driven, energetic stuff. The vocals are melodic yet snarly and growly. Nothing overly complicated. It's heavily influenced by industrial music, but I don't think it falls all the way into industrial music. No. Because I wasn't sure where you'd go with it, because no industrial isn't normally your bag, so to speak.
No.
It's moody and atmospheric. There's plenty of menace in this, and there's a real sense of menace about listening to this. It isn't cartoony in any way, shape, or form. There is fun on this record, but the tempo and the energy change things up, so you get to like the almost dance beat drum rhythms that come from the Rammstein side of things. They get you sort of pumping up and moving. But there's this nastiness that comes in at the top of it while Nala's investigating the drum kit for some reason. This is an engaging listen. It's got a great blend of the sound wall and the depth at the same time for atmosphere. They got balance on that. It gives the songs and overall the album that push and pull that's required. Naturally makes us more interesting and easier to get into. The sound effects and the movie grabs fit into the drama on this record as well, which is why I'm sitting there going, how do you not fucking mention it? You mentioned it in Defryme, but you don't mention any of that in this.
I didn't get it.
Clearly. Production is a little bit hot, but this is par for the course with this style of music. The fuzz that comes from this style of compression complements what's going on. It's mostly on the guitars. Everything else is fine, which shows it's an intentional trick on the guitar compression, not the overall thing. It's not like when the drums kick in, the whole thing starts to clip. It's just the guitars are hot and fuzzy, so it's driving really hot on this one. And the mix works well. It's big and dense, but in the way this is laid and presented, it's all very well executed. It's a bit more subtle than you expect when you start to really get stuck into the listen of it. That compression brings heat and energy to it. I really like the way they played with the panning on things, like the wailing, that layered wailing in the background on some tracks. That was really well done. Bit of ear candy in this one as well. It's not complicated. It's not meant to be. This is stuff that's meant to get you pumped up if you're into the style, but also give you something to dig into if you want to listen more deeply to the record. If you're not into this style of music, this probably won't change your mind, so I'm going to disagree with you a bit on that regard. I don't know if everyone will get this one, but that said, if you do like this style of music, this is going to fucking really hook you fast. The album flow is good, great use tempo changes, little musical shifts or pieces sort of things, keep it interesting. They're using the proven tricks, but they're using them very, very well on this record. And the haunting aspect with the little instrumental tracks was very well placed on this one. If you like it straight ahead with Rob Zombie-like soundscape moments, this is for you, especially if you enjoy the more industrial side of music. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Cult of Voodoo, I fucking love that track. Jack the Ripper, I Am Animal, and Curse of the Electric Eye. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Truth Corroded with Bloodlands. 9 tracks, 40 minutes. The 6th album from the Australian metal band released March 2019 via Unique Leader Records. Mixed and mastered by Chris Zeus Harris. 3 promo tracks have been released in Open Eyes and Willing Hands, Victims Left Lepers, and To the Carnal Earth. This album features drumming from Kevin Talley and has guest spots from Stephen Carpenter, Terence Hobbs, Mark Klippel, and Ryan Knight. How are you?
Discovery of the night for me.
Oh, wow, okay.
I did not know anything about this band.
This
I've
is
never heard of
right
this
up for you
band.
too. Yep.
Fuck me, it was good. This is like when I had that psychoptic thing back early in the year or last year, and I was like, fuck. Same deal with these guys. Like, fuck me, haven't I not heard about this band at all? And what, 6th release or something?
Yeah, 6th album.
Go back and listen to them.
I need to. I need to. No, it was good. If you like bands like Skin Lab and Lamb of God and that type of thing, you're gonna like this. This is world class. Like, fucking sound was fantastic.
Yep.
Like, it just pumped through the speakers, but it was nice. You know, it was pleasant to the eardrums.
Really well balanced.
Fucking great mix.
Yeah.
Oh, the playing was amazing. You know. If you like bands like Thy Art Is Murder and Cryzen or Crimson, however you want to say it, they fall right in there, you know. It's heavy, it's fast, it's aggressive, but the playing is good. Like, it's really well put together. It's not just fast and just... That's easy to do.
Yeah.
There's intricate parts, there's breakdowns, it's really well put together. Sonically sounds amazing. This is on my list to buy. 100%.
Okay, cool.
I'm fucking getting that as soon as I can.
Nice.
The Leech's Feed, Victims Left Lepers, on the first listen, but I love the whole album. I thought it was fucking great. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
And I reckon it'll probably go to a 10. I fucking loved it.
Wow, cool.
It's good.
Yeah. Adelaide Metal Giants.
Well, these are one of the ones you recommended to us to process.
I've loved this band for a long time, and they are one of the most criminally underrated Australian metal bands. To sort of describe their sound, they've almost taken like the heaviest points of like a Pantera or a Lamb of God, and then they've added in like a bit of grind that you'd get from like a Napalm Death or a Suffocation and all that.
Yeah, yep.
And then, but they've also added in some of the more modern, heavier styles that you'd see from bands like the Red Shore and Thy Art Is Murder and all that. And what you get is this sort of really heavy, grinding thing, but still got some hooks through the guitar work. There's some wonderful syncopation between the drums and the guitars and the vocals, and it's just an all-round killer album.
Yeah.
These guys can play.
Yeah.
Production is flawless.
Fucking
Part of the listening experience is just, listening to the tones that they've pulled. It's very... Again, like for modern metal, you do really get like a really overproduced guitar sound a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And these guys have done the complete 180. They've got that really warm, old, just really tubey sounds, not too much production.
That's almost like a valve.
Yeah, and it's I don't know why we strayed from that sound. It was perfect to begin with. I can't fault it. Like, for me, this is a 10.
Fuck, okay, cool.
I don't understand. Like, this is one of those bands where you go, okay, it's because they're from Australia that they're not, like, they didn't have the exposure.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but, like, being from Adelaide is harder than being from Melbourne when it comes to getting exposure from a band. And unless you're willing to move and put all the time and the money and the touring and all that, it's a lot of costs and all that. And that's really the only reason why I can see this band is not... Because, like, I know they've toured overseas as well.
Yeah, they have. That's a bit.
There's really good pockets of bands happening in different areas outside of Melbourne now, which... Fuck, why don't they just get together? Like, could you imagine Mason, fucking these guys and
Pure
like,
Envy.
Pure Envy.
Yeah,
like, how good would that be for a fucking
sick.
deal?
Yeah, that'd be good.
But even, like,
fuck.
we're a Pure Envy from, like, Newcastle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Fuck
like,
me.
Get them all to play on fucking Ayers Rock.
Yeah, like... Or, like, Blacken Festival that they've got now.
That'd actually be a really good place for all of them to play.
Yeah, like... I first heard this band because they toured with Frankenbach here back in the day, and that's how I found them. And more people should listen to this band because they are tremendous. Open Eyes is my standout, but you should listen to the whole thing. It's great. Granted, again, if you want the soft spot, if you want the break, if you want the ballad in the middle, there is a track in the middle to break it up. But
for all of like a minute and a half.
For all of a minute and a half, but just grow up and listen to the whole thing.
Cup of concrete moment, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is, in case you can't tell, the most brutal of the albums we're covering in tonight's episode. This one is heavy, growling. It's got the blast beats, all this sort of stuff. It's got intensity, but there's also more depth than you usually expect on this record from a lot of the others from this style. But how heavy and brutal this is, the thing that stands out to me in this are the lead guitar work. That was really cool, really refreshing on this release by No Hitchhikers. The other thing that was really cool was the clarity in the vocals. They did that really well. As heavy as you want it to be, but suits the style, the delivery and the presentation are done, though, so that you can hear it all clearly, but it doesn't lose any of its venom. The ability to make out lyrics in this is fucking fantastic. And I don't normally say that about this style of music. That was really well done. This one was a bit of a grower for me. It didn't grab me as much as I was hoping for at the very start of it. But I don't listen to this music as much as you guys do. But the more time I spent with this one, the more I really came to appreciate what was going on. There's more to this than meets the eye. And I think the second half of the album was stronger than the first half of the album. That's where a bit more diversity sort of creeps in a little bit. But if you wanted heavy, this is for you for sure. The layout of this album was well done. The acoustic little track that you were talking about in the middle of the album really does serve between, side A, side B, that switch over. It's like 9 tracks. That's exactly track 5, so it's precisely the middle of the album. The use of the softer or female vocal on the back half of this record was a really nice touch as well. Production was good. They've given this life and depth while still giving you a sound wall to pound your head against. Not a lot of light and shade per se, which you expect from this genre, but it's very well balanced and allows you to hear absolutely everything, which is rare for this kind of music. It's hard-hitting, punchy, nasty, yet still clear enough to hear every little detail. The soundscape work on the final track was brilliant. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
All in all, this, for me, I can't sit here and say I listen to enough of this music to say that it does or doesn't jump out from the pack kind of thing. I can't sit here and quantify that statement. But for me, it's a very good listen. It's solid. It has enough points of difference to be its own thing without alienating those that really love this style of music as well for mine, but I'm not the strongest connoisseur, so this is from my point of view. The one quirk I did find in this record was that for the guest spots on this, they didn't really make much of a difference to the record for me, which is odd when you get 4 relatively strong names of the field, and it's like, okay, you want them to make an impact, and I didn't think they did, which I don't know. I found that weird to me. If you like heavy music, get this one. It's very good. For me, though, if I'm looking for an album that's along this territory, I'm going to go for the Behemoth one from earlier this year. That's the first pick off the shelf. That said, this isn't too far behind it. This is pretty fucking good.
That being said, though, that Behemoth album is one of the highest rated albums in God knows how long, so that's still high praise.
Oh, yeah, I'm putting it in the same conversation. That's not a knock. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. And for me, I don't normally listen to a lot of this music stuff. That's probably pretty high for me. The Storm, Conquest of Divide, and The End of He Who Reigns are my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Well, that's it for another week of the Hard Rock Show. Stick around after this on Channel 21 for the THRS Marathon that we do. If you're on YouTube watching this, then hopefully you've enjoyed the extended version of this episode. Details at the bottom of the screen. As always, please make sure you subscribe and follow us for all the extra content, especially on YouTube. We also have...
THRS Radio, Andrew. Best radio station in the world.
You're out of practice, mate.
I am.
Everything about this show is fucking seamless. We also have Patreon and sponsor packs out there as well. If you'd like to help us out with a bit of financial support, we'd be greatly appreciative of that. I'd just like to quickly say that this has been fun tonight. I didn't really find an album I didn't like. I know other people will disagree with that sentiment, but for me personally, I don't know if you guys got anything you want to say about tonight at all quickly, or...
Yeah, look, I've been in the Australian metal scene for a long time, like I'm just as a fan, and yeah, we've got easily the best metal bands in the world are in Australia.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah.
No, it's been good to discover some material and realise, like, holy shit, even some older ones where you're going, I kind of didn't really delve into it for whatever fucking reason, which is no reason at all.
Yeah.
Kind of wish I did, but
more homework to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we like, isn't it? Just put more on our plates.
Yeah, exactly.
I've really enjoyed it too. Finding out some new bands and bits and pieces. So it's been good.
Nice.
Yeah. Found a few gems. That Taipan album was really good.
Yeah.
I haven't actually heard that Vanishing Point album, so I'm going to have to give that a listen.
Okay.
So I'll settle in for the night with that one. I'm sure I will. Might listen to it twice in one evening.
It's almost a full album.
Almost.
You'll be ready for breakfast.
Anything at the end?
No, same. Enjoyed the ride.
Same. All right, cool. Well, without any further ado, let's get to the favourite part of the night, and that is the bin.
The bin. I'm going to throw our darling friend Nikki 666 in the bin.
That grinds my gears.
Come on, we're all
together.
Because she was supposed to be here.
Yeah,
and I wanted more drunk Nikki, because that was, like, anyone that's seen the last few episodes would know that's just one of the highlights of the year for me. So, Nikki, you didn't turn up. Get in the bin.
Has anyone checked outside the door? She must be past.
She's in the car, just like over a steering wheel, just fucking...
What the fuck are you driving for, Nikki?
Don't drink drive. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Nikki will.
That could be your bin.
Yeah. No, Nikki gets Uber and then falls out of the car drunk.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I hate rap. That's no surprise. So I try and ignore it and hope that it goes away. But, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that Eminem was in town a few months ago. Now, okay, he's not going in the bin, neither is hip-hop, but I did see a review that compared Eminem to Freddie Mercury.
Oh,
and not just Freddie Mercury, but Freddie Mercury at Live Aid. Now, I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care who the fuck it is. You don't compare anyone to Freddie Mercury, especially not Eminem. No. Not even close.
Especially not at Live Aid.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Not anywhere, but not at fucking Live Aid.
But I didn't know whether to laugh or cry when I saw that shit.
Not even in the same sense.
If you think Eminem even comes close, it just proves how much the standards have dropped in the last couple of decades. Because that is a pathetic comparison.
Yeah.
Was the person that reviewed Eminem even old enough to remember?
They probably saw the movie.
Yeah. I don't really have a bin because I forgot all about it. So
bin the fact you've been away so long, you've forgotten how to do the bin.
Yeah, I really did. I hate a lot of things, and I can't think of one thing that I hate in particular that I want to say more than something else. So
how about saying a lack of appreciation for Australian metal? There's one.
That's that's
there you
go. That's one.
You only get one.
Oh, okay, well, I'll move on then. There you go, Tim. Enjoy.
I understand that I'm a very socially awkward, anxiety-riddled shell of a human. But I understand some social norms. If you're making plans with someone and you say, let's meet Thursday or Friday, it's implied that it's at night. Am I wrong?
Well, it does end with day.
What's the meeting?
No, but
Is it like, hey, let's
if someone says, hey, let's hang out on Thursday or Friday, people work during the day.
Yeah.
Nobody means, except for fucking musicians apparently, nobody means during the day. Like, it's at night, dude. Come on.
Aren't musicians
Don't do that. Exactly.
Okay, that's a new one. Simple.
So you didn't want to have
Words
brunch?
are important. Learn to communicate, folks. Now, I can't believe I'm not going to be the one that's going to bring this up. I'm going to put in the bin the AFP raids and the attack on press freedom in this country right now. Fuck you. I love how the government and the federal police have waited until they got a 77-seat majority to work on investigations began 2 years and 1 year plus ago. So I think that the raiding of the ABC and the attack on the press freedoms in this country get right in the fucking bin. We are ranked surprisingly low when it comes to press freedom in the world scale. So the fact that the AFP as it stands right now can remove, copy, alter and whatever else files on the ABC, the public broadcaster servers, is mind-numbingly terrifying to me right now.
Agreed.
Fuck off.
Yeah, that was going to be my bin, but
But you forgot?
yeah,
Mickey was already in there.
there wasn't much room left.
He's got company.
Yeah, there was a lot of money.
Anyway, that's it for this week, and after that rant, we'll see if we and Community TV are back on the air next week.
The cops are outside.
Yeah.
We'll just re-edit it.
Thanks for all the support over the years.
Fucking dubbed.
You know, still send in Patreon though, because we'll just take your money anyway.
We're going to need it for bail and legal fees.
Name of our show next week will be Hey, it's Saturday.
And the plagiarism cats. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully, same time again next week. Until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Tim.
I'm Mick.
I'm Dave.
I'm Daryl.
Mr. Summers, as always.
Drink up.
Rock on.
Gong in red.
Oh, that went off the rails.
That's the most useless review
Ever.
It's just, everyone's going,
No consensus whatsoever.
Sounds great. Sounds like shit. Songs along. There's some short ones.
Jeez, how much more is this to go?
Well, we made the review fit the time of the album.
Jesus Christ.
2-hour review for 2-hour album. Perfect.
It was entertaining at least.
Fucking sun's coming up.
They're trying to be, you know, that's
Yeah, it's over.
I've got more. I've got more to say.
Solid band rule, that one.
Don't fuck anyone in the band.
More people should adhere to that rule.
More people should.
Fucks up a lot of my favourite bands.
What are they? Is that between church burnings or?
Infamous pig destroyer love triangle. Yeah, people would hate on Mars for nothing.
That's a hole you needed a pig on a spit.
Okay, the bottom of the barrel's officially been reached.
Oh no, we can go lower. I'm sure we can go lower
We
than
can
that.
go underground.
Yeah, that's a good thing Michael Sweet's not Australian.
Yeah, his wife's dead.
Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus
And she
Christ.
still broke up the band.
Goddamn drummer fucking his wife.
There we go. We just reached it.
That's a hole. That's a hole, and you needed to pound the skins.
We're in China right now.
We weren't at the bottom of the barrel after all, were we?
You did call it way too soon.
Yeah, I should know better. Rookie error.
You called it and then you dug deeper.
Yeah.
Dig up, stupid.
I don't know if we can here.
Dreadnaught.
We're down to 0.
Oh, we needed the dog to come up.
Or Nikki.
From the dead.
Oh, nice.
Bring out your dead.